One of the most important figures of the Christian religion is that of Abraham, being one of the protagonists of Christianity, Judaism and Islam, and causing this that these religions they are called Abrahamic religions. To know the life of such an important person for the history of religion, we must talk about the story of Abraham in the Bible. Who is Abraham in the Bible? Abraham is a character from the Bible that appears in the so-called Book of Genesis, being the first of the three patriarchs and the one sent by God to find the one known as Earth Fiancé. In the Bible, Abraham plays a pivotal role by serving as the first point of union between God and the Jewish people, being him the first person who had close contact with God, and thus being the founder of religion. The story of Abraham in the Bible revolves around the earth and the future of believers of God. During the story, Abraham has to leave his family's land to look for the promised land, where he has been promised that he could have a family, since his wife was unable to have children. To understand the importance of the figure of Abraham, we must talk about his life, summarizing what the Bible tells us about his person, to understand the role fundamental that he had in religions. Abraham's relationship with religion was hereditary, since he was a descendant of several important personalities of the Bible like Noah or Cainan. Most of the life of Abraham was estranged from religion, and it was not until he was old that God crossed his path. Abraham at the time was married to his half-sister, Sarah, but they could not have children because she barren. In that situation, God appeared to Abraham and told him that he should to leave the city of his family and go to Canaan, being the prize for going to this land he promised to have a son and to form a great town. Abraham's travels did not end in Canaan, for years later God made him tour Egypt to take his word to more places, this being one of the regions where years later religion would be very important. After this trip Abraham and his wife they returned to Canaan. But they were still unable to have children, so Sarah is said to have offered her from her husband to one of her slaves to beget a son, born from this relationship Ishmael. At almost 100 years old, Abraham received a visit from God to tell him that the promise was close to being fulfilled, and that Sarah was going to have a son, who was named Isaac. But the Abraham's happiness was not maintained for a long time, since God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac to show him the year he had towards his. Abraham was about to do so, but at the last second the archangel Gabriel stopped the hand of Abraham, saying it was all a test from God. We don't know much about Abraham's last years, although we do know the children who he had with another wife after the death of Sarah and that she died at the age of 175, living the long life that his God promised him. The sons of him, being the offspring an important part of the history of Abraham, and being it is very interesting to meet his children because of the important role they played in religion. Ishmael, the first of Abraham's sons, being the result of his relationship with the slave Hagar, slave with whom he had children due to the impossibility of his wife to procreate. The importance of the first son of Abraham lies in the fact that he is considered the ancestor and founder of the Ismailis, who years later would be called Arabs or Hagarims, and they would occupy the area that years later would convert to Islam. Ishmael was buried near Mecca, being like his father the founder of a great region. Isaac, son of Abraham with his wife Sarah, being the best known for the story of sacrifice which is narrated in the Bible. He is considered the second patriarch of the Jews, holding the same position as his father. It is said that for years Isaac was traveling through areas, taking the word of God for all of them, and therefore being a prophet of religion. Children of Abraham with Keturah. After Sarah's death, Abraham had 6 children with a new wife named Keturah. No. We know many facts that he was one of these children, although the few sources we have. They speak of traveling to the east, forming tribes there, although other sources speak that they could reach Africa.